County Commissioner Kurt Thacker says the sheriff is breaking the law. Sheriff Scott Walton admits he put an undercover camera on the commissioner's property, and he says it's not illegal. Right now at 10, 2 News investigator Marla Carter digs deeper into a story that we broke exclusively at 6.
She uncovers the surveillance work that's now part of an audit.
The commissioners' meeting here in Rogers County was pretty heated this week. It's all over what is going to be revealed in a state audit.
This is the camera that I found.
Rogers County Commissioner Kurt Thacker couldn't believe what he found hidden in a tree on his 400 acres of property.
But it's on that north fence row.
The camera, he says, was pointed in the direction of this pond. Thacker raises cattle here, and he needed more water for his cows. Meanwhile, the county road down the street was flooding, so it worked out well to mitigate that flooding by directing the water to his property. That project used county equipment, and the sheriff says that's an abuse of power. So his staff put a nearly $400 camera hidden on his property to see who was working on the pond project.
When I asked if he had a warrant to enter private property that is clearly marked with no trespassing signs, he told me that he didn't have a warrant and he didn't need one.
That there's no need for any search warrant. It's not intrusive of anybody's privacy, and it doesn't violate Fourth Amendment rights or any other amendments.
But how is photographing somebody's land and putting something on somebody's private property not an invasion of someone's privacy?
If you look at, a case law will dictate to it on those properties right there, you'll see that.
It all came up at a commission meeting this week. So did an expense for a wireless service that sends the camera's pictures back to a server. That cost you, the taxpayer, $720. So, to spy on Thacker on his property, the taxpayer spent at least $1,100.
That it was personal gain all the way through for Mr. Thacker to repair this pond dam.
If he will do that to the county commissioner who can and will fight back, what's he doing to the Joe citizen out there?
The state audit is set to be released on Tuesday. The 2 News investigators will be sure to detail what those findings are. In Rogers County, Marla Carter, 2 News works for you.
Marla, thanks. Thacker says the OSBI cleared him of any wrongdoing, but the sheriff says a grand jury could still take up the issue.
Another question lingering tonight: is there hypocrisy in Walton's decision to put a camera on the commissioner's property? It's a question because of what happened between the sheriff and the district attorney, Janice Stidley. Here live with that part of our team coverage is 2 News reporter Liz Bryant.
Well, the sheriff accused the district attorney, Janice Stidley, of wiretapping this Rogers County courthouse. Ultimately, a grand jury cleared her. They said she didn't do it. And the district attorney tells me she's not going to comment if this is hypocrisy because she doesn't want to stir up any old feelings, any old strife. She did say we're constantly battling this sheriff on search warrants. District Attorney Janice Stidley says the last 4 years it's the same battle. She tells the sheriff you must get a search warrant, and many times he just doesn't do it or have his deputies do it. She says this jeopardizes cases when they go to court. Stidley says she offered deputies training for this, but says it's Sheriff Scott Walton's way. He operates on his own.
You know, we recently just had a jury trial, and it was allegations of sexual abuse on a child, and the deputy did not go to the crime scene. And that is a huge issue, and that was really stressed by the defense, and the defendant was found not guilty, and that is a huge issue.
As for the DA filing charges against the sheriff for setting up surveillance, she says it must be investigated first. I just got off the phone with Scott Walton. He says we do our job right. This is entirely politically motivated because of the DA's upcoming election in just a few weeks. He says we get warrants when we need to, and our investigators have been trained. He says the DA offers no way to work with them. Live in Rogers County tonight, Liz Bryant, 2 News works for you.
All right, Liz, thanks. 2 News in depth tonight looks into Sheriff Walton's work history. He worked for the Tulsa Police Department from 1981 until he retired shortly before he was elected Rogers County Sheriff in 2008. Walton won a second term in 2012.